Let's talk about why street photography is quite possibly the best hobby ever and why I recommend it to everybody. Maybe you're already a photographer and you're well on your way as a professional, but you've never really dabbled with street photography. Or maybe you've never picked up a camera before and you're interested in this thing called street photography. Well, in this video, I want to cover 5 key areas, 5 benefits to my life that street photography has brought me and why I just recommend it to everybody. Before we dive into things, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the sponsors of this video, Squarespace. I have some big news. I am releasing my first proper published official book. This is Find Your Focus, a street photography masterclass. And this is a manual, a guide of sorts of everything I think about, everything I try and do, the whole process of what I consider street photography for me, condensed into this book full of my favorite pictures and then 20 chapters full of all my thoughts. I can't believe this is real. This is going to be available at the end of September in the US, at the start of October in the UK, shipping worldwide. Amazon, Waterstones, Barnes & Noble. This will be available in most major retailers, and I'm a little bit lost for words. So this is me announcing this. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in pre-ordering it. And I'm going to be diving into some of the insights in this book, actually, that have helped script this video as well. So a little teaser for the book coming up throughout this video. The first thing I think is important to cover is how street photography has benefited my creative growth. Photography is obviously an art form of sorts, so let's dive into the most obvious point here and how street photography has helped me develop as a photographer, generally speaking. Developing your eye as a photographer is never ending. There is no end point or completion to improving. And with street photography, you have an endless, infinite amount of variables to what possible photograph you could take. There is no limit, no capacity, no ceiling, no endpoint. You will be pursuing this craft for eternity, and you will never ever take every possible picture. So this idea of improving and progressing means that street photography is quite literally the best playground for it. Another thing I think is wonderful creatively with street photography is that multiple people can go out walking down the same street and capture completely different moments. And that, for me, shows your creative point of view. That is your personality shining within the photographs. If we all walk down the street and take exactly the same pictures, then no one would have different personalities or points of view. But that's not what happens. I walk down Oxford Street in London with 5 of my good friends, and we all take completely different pictures. We are literally seeing our own point of view and our own taste and our own personality show in real time. And I think that's great. Your photographs say something about you as a photographer. And because with street photography, there is an endless amount of things to possibly take pictures of, the things you decide to share, the things you decide to pursue in the world of street photography, tell the viewers a little bit about you. And Rick Rubin said something wonderful about this point. Every work, no matter how trivial it may seem, plays a role in a greater cycle. For example, a street photograph you almost didn't take or you're not too bothered about might actually really resonate and really mean something to somebody else, a stranger that you will never meet. So in fact, getting out there, making something, sharing and contributing your perspective to the world might actually have an impact that you haven't considered. And that gives this whole creative pursuit a sense of purpose. You're actually creating something, contributing to the world, sharing your perspective, and doing something real. It's something tangible, even if it is just photographic evidence or a record of what you saw. This is a very real thing that we're adding to the world. Benefit number 2 that street photography has brought me is life lessons that I've learned along the way. The unpredictability of street photography is very much like the unpredictability of life. You quite frankly just have to deal with the cards you've been dealt. This is about empathy and people watching and understanding different walks of life. You actually see it and you experience it, and you might interact with all of that on the street. And this is subtle, but it's just enough to get out of your own bubble and your own echo chamber of family politics or work gossip, because quite frankly, this isn't about you. This is about the bigger picture. Pun not intended. Another life lesson is that street photography is 99% failure. Where else do we spend hours and hours and hours attempting and trying and failing nearly all the time? It's challenging, and honestly, it's humbling. I think it's good for us because we live in such an instant gratification world. Everything is handed to you on a plate if you want it. and street photography most certainly is not. So you can't walk out the street and make a success of it. You really have to try, and I think that's really good for us. It's basically the antidote to modern life's obsession with productivity and efficiency. Street photography is about wandering aimlessly and seeing where you end up, and I love that. Benefit number 3 that street photography has brought me is the physical and lifestyle benefits. I appreciate this might be the most obvious point in this video, that if you spend a full day doing street photography, you might do 10, 20, 30,000 steps. That obviously has its physical benefits. But what I like about this is that it's just part of the process. You can go and spend a full day doing street photography and 20,000 steps is a byproduct. It's accidental. You're not even thinking about it. Compared to intentionally going outside to do some exercise, going out your way, you might not get it done. You might not want to go and move your body like that. But if you're heading outside with a camera, it's just part of the process. And I think that is a wonderful byproduct of street photography. But also on just second that, I think that when we're outside moving, we do our best thinking. I know that if I'm walking with a friend, that's when we have the best conversations. So heading outside to do street photography, if you're ever in your own head too much, I think it's better to be in your own head when you're out and about seeing the world instead of just being locked up in your bedroom. So street photography, great excuse to go for a walk. I just want to say a few words about today's video sponsor, Squarespace. And I have actually just had a little revamp over on my website. I've tried to make it a little bit more sleek and tried to make it a little bit more professional. I'll let you be the judge of that. But I have most recently been enjoying writing blogs and obviously sending emails out to my Focal Point newsletter subscribers. This newsletter is more of a behind the scenes look at the work I get up to, and Squarespace has been the best helping hand to make all of this possible. Whether you're looking for somewhere to host your portfolio of work or even sell digital and physical products, which I am doing on my website, you can choose from many of their hundreds of beautiful templates, or you can let AI do the heavy lifting for you. And when you have your website up and running, which I promise takes minutes to do so, you can then just drag and drop, add, swap, change, alternate. It's so easy to do. I don't know anything about coding or building software. This is not that. Squarespace is the best website at making websites, and it's a breeze to do it. So if you're interested, why don't you take advantage of a 14-day free trial? Head to squarespace.com/Mike Chudley to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Let's get back to the video. A huge lifestyle benefit to street photography, and perhaps just photography in general here, is that it makes travel exponentially better. And I'm sure many of you watching this only pursue photography when you're traveling. And it makes total sense because you're experiencing this new environment, this new culture, these new sights and sounds. You're experiencing this novelty. And you get to infuse that with photography that kind of doubles all that down. You're hunting for moments, you're looking for opportunities, you're learning and you're listening. Combine that with travel, it's a perfect marriage. So street photography has made traveling for me even more interesting, as I'm sure it has for you. Another physical and lifestyle benefit that street photography has brought me over the years is the simple fact that it does, even just a little bit, make you get out of your comfort zone. Whether that's interacting with people or just being present on the street or moving through large crowds and exploring somewhere new, I am certainly a more confident person because of it. And having more confidence increases the likelihood of you perhaps getting better pictures, and you getting better pictures then makes you a little bit more confident to pursue more. So it's a self-benefiting or a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. Street photography has made me more confident, and the confidence has helped me get better at street photography. So yeah, just getting outside, getting out your comfort zone. I think it might be the best thing about street photography. Benefit number 4 is about presence and mindfulness. And before I put anyone off with any sort of spirituality, woo-woo discussion, I'm not going to get into that really because I'm not that guy. I'm not fully sure what I'd be talking about. But I do mention a little bit of that presence and mindfulness in this book, as one of my biggest inspirations or biggest turning points in my life was when I read the book, The Power of Now. And I leave a link for you to watch the full video I made about this topic because I went into more detail in a previous video. But presence and mindfulness is as simple as saying that street photography gets you out of your own head and looking forward at the world. You can't be distracted while actively trying street photography. You can't be in your own head worrying about finances and relationships and stresses at work. You have to actually switch off from everyday life and focus on the life in front of you. It's basically just meditation on the move, and that might not be about internal thoughts and what you're dealing with in your own life, but just the fact that it allows me to focus on something else for a few hours at a time is a real relief in a way. It feels good after I've done a day of street photography, even if I've just spent an hour taking pictures. The fact that I have to focus and lock in, as you would say, on something else other than my own thoughts, that feels good. Essentially, street photography unlocks this feeling because it's just not about you. It's about what's in front of you. There's no to-do list. You're not going from A to B. You're not trying to squeeze this task in between this task. You're just aimlessly wandering. Where else do you get to do that in life? Benefit number 5 to street photography is my perspective and increased gratitude for everything. You start to see your own city differently and cities you travel to differently. You think that almost every street is going to be the same. Maybe that you take the same route to work every day and it's almost identical. I promise you, when you start looking for details and noticing life, it is not the same, and every day is different. And I'm genuinely excited. I'm getting excited now thinking about it, that I can walk around London and the same route that I take on repeat shows up in a different way every single time. Life has this unpredictability factor that only you can appreciate and you can understand when you start looking for it. I can walk down one path with one friend and he sees nothing because he's not a street photographer. I'm walking just 2 feet to the left of him and I'm seeing so much magic. What a wonderful perspective that is to have. Street photography trains you to be appreciative of just everyday things. And my good friend JP made a video very similar to this about the benefits of street photography over on his channel, so I'll leave a link. And he made a wonderful point in that video that if you take just the normal average person, Joe Blogs, when they see a sunset, they can appreciate it. They know it's beautiful, the light is nice, the color is lovely. Okay, great. They might not get to experience that every day because they might not see a sunset every day. But when they do, they know this is obviously wonderful. Well, now imagine you get to do that with everything, whether it's the light reflecting in a shop or a family wearing matching clothes or the texture of a love heart on the floor or a smiling face on a billboard that looks like someone else's smile. Details are all over that present to us different ways of seeing. Now, if you don't look for it, like I kind of just said, you don't appreciate it. But when you start looking for it, these magical moments are quite literally everywhere. And I can walk around London all day going, that's cool, that's cool. Look at this. Seen that color over there? Look at the light over there. Look at those people. Oh, that's... I might be crazy. I might look like a crazy person, but I'm smiling and I think I'm winning. So it makes me happy. And maybe I'm just going to get a tiny little bit woo-woo with you for a second on this point. But street photography and gratitude go hand in hand because I love London. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. I love the cameras I get to use. I love Instagram, where I get to speak to thousands of people about photography. I love YouTube, that I'm doing this now because I get to talk about street photography. I love the light that might be out in the city. I love the people I'm walking with, the food I'm eating, the coffee I'm drinking, just the everyday amenities of life that we might just take for granted. Street photography reminds me how lucky I am to be experiencing it all. People can experience and understand gratitude in their own life in many different ways. That might be journaling or therapy or just good conversations with good friends. Being appreciative of things is, I think, what gives us a good base level of satisfaction, of happiness. Street photography does that for me. It's really quite simple. And my last point about gratitude and perspective with street photography is that it reminds me that it's not always about making the best work ever and taking the best picture and producing the most profound piece of art. Although it might feel like that's what you're trying to do sometimes. Street photography is just about learning to see and training yourself to see and attempting to get better. That's good for fulfillment. It's good to get out there and experience things because that's what life's all about, isn't it?